Rights of everyone participating in clean sport. Athletes Anti-Doping Rights Act. Because of rules, athletes can perform and compete on a level playing field and respect each other. By each giving their best and pursuing the best of their potential, athletes gain something special beyond winning or losing. The beauty in sport emerges out of restrictions and rules.
Sport can be sport with a set of agreed rules ensuring fairness and equity for all who perform, spectate, support and create sport. Doping breaks these underlying conditions. Doping is an act betraying the trust of many and efforts which you yourself have accumulated. It also deprives your teammates and rivals of opportunities from competing at their true ability. Doping breaks the fundamental conditions of sport. It ruins the positive impact sport can bring to society and to our life in the future.
The aim of anti-doping is to protect the spirit of sport and the social significance of sport. Everyone's effort to protect fairness in sport can transcend and create a better society. Everyone involved in sport plays their role to protect and develop the future of clean and fair sport.
What are the athletes' rights to participate in clean sport? What kind of rights do athletes have to protect themselves and their teammates and competitors from doping? What can athletes do to develop the future of sport? To protect the athletes' rights, what rules must be understood and complied? The voices of athletes themselves are what underpin this Athletes Act. The Athletes Act compiles the rights of all athletes, including your right to strive to participate and create a clean sport environment. This Manga clip makes everyone easily accessible to the Athletes Act. By watching this clip, protect yourself, your teammates or competitors, and make appropriate decisions for clean sport.
Number 1. Equality of opportunity. Athletes have the right to equal opportunity to participate in a clean and fair competition where rules are respected and free of doping.
With your rights protected, athletes can extend their potential, make their best efforts, and realise their fullest ability through sport. Number 2. Equitable and fair testing programme. Doping control is conducted under universally applied rules. Athletes have the right to equitable and impartial testing, regardless of sport, country, and disabilities.
You have the right to bring an interpreter and accompanying person along with you during doping control.
Number 3. Medical treatment and protection of health rights. Athletes are protected from having their emotional and physical health forcibly endangered by others for deliberate doping. Let's say no if you were ever pressured by others to commit doping.
Anonymous reporting is also possible for your protection. Number 3. Medical treatment and protection of health rights. When athletes are faced with the needed use of prohibited substances or methods for the treatment of their disease or injury, you can apply for TUE to your respective anti-doping organisation. Athletes have the right to be treated by such prohibited substances or methods when exceptionally approved with specified periods and doses.
Check your athlete's category. Your application for TUE depends on your category.
Number 4. Right to justice. If you are suspected of violating an anti-doping rule, you have the right to express your opinion to a fair, impartial, and operationally independent hearing panel. You have the right to present your opinion with evidence, to object, and receive the written reasons for sanction imposed. If you are unconvinced by the reasoned decision, you have the right to appeal.
Explain with confidence, because the hearing panel is operationally independent. Number 5. Right to accountability. If athletes are in doubt over compliance issues existing within your anti-doping organisation or support personnel, you can be anonymous in reporting to seek for action and improvement.
Protecting and creating a clean and fair sport should be a joint effort by all of us involved in sport. Regardless of status, let's create and protect the value of sport.
Number 6. Whistleblower rights. Athletes can safely report any potential doping behavior or non-compliance by anti-doping organizations which you saw, heard, or learned of. This includes the right not to be subject to any threats, retaliation, or discouragement from reporting.
Your brave action to protect the value of sport is protected by your rights. Number 7. Right to education. Athletes have the right to be educated on sport values and anti-doping and enjoy their athletic life through education with updated and correct information.
When all of us involved in sport have the right knowledge with true mindset against doping, sport can be far better in future. Let's be the true champion by spreading the true value.
Number 8. Right to data protection. Athletes' personal information is fairly and lawfully handled and protected. Athletes can request the anti-doping organization to explain how your personal information is processed and deleted once it is no longer in use for anti-doping purposes.
Under the international standard, your anti-doping organizations collect, store and disclose your personal information only for the purpose of anti-doping. Number 9. Rights to compensation. Anti-doping organizations would take reasonable measures to recover any prize money from sanctioned athletes and allocate and distribute it to athletes truly entitled. Under any laws or regulations, clean athletes can file claims for compensatory damages against those having committed doping.
You must file claims for damages in court by yourself.
Number 10. Protected persons' rights. If those athletes defined as protected persons because of their age or a lack of legal capacity are found to have committed doping, the public disclosure of violations would not be mandatory in principle.
Athletes with difficulties in assessing their fault on their own will be supported. Number 11. Rights during a sample collection session. Athletes are allowed to request explanations from a doping control officer, DCO, when they are subject to testing. What you can do is check the identity of the DCO, ask questions about the testing procedure, know about testing authority, ask for additional information about the sample collection process, hydrate, have an accompanying representative person during testing. Request a delay going to the doping control station with valid reasons. Be informed of your rights and responsibilities. Write down any concerns or questions during testing. Receive a copy of the sample collection.
Fair and impartial testing is implemented under international rule. Prove that you are clean through testing and protect your rights.
Number 12. Rights to B-sample analysis. During doping control, athletes divide their own urine sample into A and B bottles. If athletes' A sample result came out as an adverse analytical finding, sporting activities are provisionally suspended. Athletes have the right to request to analyze their B sample. When the analytical finding of their B sample is inconsistent with that of their A sample, athletes are allowed to return to the sport.
Prove that you are clean by yourself. There is a process that you can ask for analyzing the sample. Number 13. Other rights and freedoms not affected. athletes have anti-doping rights or freedoms other than those included in the Act? Number 14. Application and standing. The Code and international standards are what underpin athletes' rights, and nothing in the Act shall alter the standing of said rights.
There are 3 recommended athletes' rights which promote anti-doping activities more effectively, guarantee the integrity of sport and further protect athletes' rights. Right to an anti-doping system free from corruption. Athletes can train and participate in competitions without suffering any injustice caused by doping-related corruption or manipulation. Right to participate in governance and decision-making. Athletes should be consulted or have a voice as part of efforts to improve anti-doping rules. Right to legal aid. Athletes have the right to access legal support for hearings and appeal processes in doping cases.
There are 14 rights set out in the Athletes' Right Act that athletes have by way of the Code and international standards.
Equality of opportunity.
Equitable and fair testing programs.
Medical treatment and protection of health rights.
Right to justice.
Right to accountability.
Whistleblower rights.
Right to education.
Right to data protection.
Rights to compensation.
Protected persons' rights.
Rights during a sample collection session.
Right to B-sample analysis.
Other rights and freedoms not affected.
Application and standing.
There are 3 recommended athletes' rights.
Right to an anti-doping system free from corruption.
Right to participate in governance and decision-making.
Right to legal aid.
Be true to sport, be true to yourself.